Hey up everybody, how the devil are we all doing? It's a nimble gymnast, and in this video we're making this, an abandoned factory that's a Brotherhood of Steel outpost thing. I don't know, let's get into it. First things first, we need a location, don't we? And for this build I've decided to put it here, just near the Charleston train station. Foundations wise we're keeping it simple. It's a 2x4 rectangle with a little foundation stuck to the arse end of it. And the overall effect we're going for is an old English mill. Yeah, just like that I've thrown up on screen now. Beautiful. Once you've placed all of them down, you're going to be left with something like this. Right, so before we start putting down our walls, we've got to put down one particular roof piece. And we're doing this now because it's going to be a kick in the penis trying to do it later. So just throw down a foundation here like this. Simply lovely. Grab yourself a catwalk and snap it to it. Snap a foundation onto said catwalk, get rid of it, and then slide up this foundation to the one you've just put down. We can then delete that, and then look what you have, an offset foundation. Suits you, sir. We're then going to build up some wall pieces and snap a roof to the top of it. Now the roof piece we're using is the new responder one with the little brick thing on front of it. So just plonk it on there, make sure it's the right way, you know, you may have to put two down to get it in. Turn it into a corner slopey boy and delete the walls underneath it. You can then change it back to the flat piece and you'll be left with a floating roof. Now we can go ahead and put the rest of our walls in, and we're going to be using the responders set. Notice how they look different on each side of it. One side's got the steel, one's not. We're going to be using that to our advantage. By facing them in different directions, we can make this build look like an absolute piece of shit, and that's exactly what we're going for. Now for this end bit here, we're just going to be using normal solid walls, and then we're going to be sticking half walls with windows in above it. Yep, simply lovely. Along the sides here, I'm going to put down some more foundations, and this is so we can flip round our walls and have them facing in opposite directions. So here, for example, we can put down a wall facing the normal way. This means that when we put a window on top of it, that'll also be facing the right way, i.e. steel side forward. But like I said, guys, we want to mix and match, don't we? So we're going to change this top one into a doorway, delete the wall from underneath it, and because we put them other foundations in, we can flip that wall in the opposite direction. So you're left with something like this. And we're going to use this method to go around the whole building, doing exactly the same thing. It's going to turn out right, don't worry, guys. Now with this little sticky out foundation here, this is going to be our tower. It's not actually going to function as a tower because I'm too lazy to work out how to make it function in that way, but it'll look good, and that's all that matters. Again, we're just going to be doing the same thing, but this time we're going to be building up 3 walls rather than just 2. And when you've got them all down, this is what you should be left with. And I'm hoping to at least some of my British viewers anyway that this is starting to look familiar. There's at least 30 of these buggers in every northern town in country. We have left this side open here, and that's because we're putting down a garage door. It's not going to function very well though, is it, without a ramp here? So we're going to go under the map and make one. Now the first person that I ever saw making one of these under the map ramps was Mr. Church. And in my opinion, it's very important to give credit to somebody who came up with an idea, so thank you very much, mate. I do appreciate it. But first things first, we've got to get under the map, haven't we? And the way we're going to do this is by using the symptomatic, some stairs, and a floor mat. I've done this a few times, but we'll go over it again. Place down some stairs and a foundation, just like this, nice and simple. Put down one of these door mats, simply lovely. Place down your symptomatic on top of it, just like this. Grab the floor mat, which will bring your symptomatic with it, and place it down on one of the bottom steps of your stairs. You can then grab your stairs, snap it at the side of this foundation, and as you can see, the symptomatic is just popping up out of the ground. And then if you interact with it, lo and behold, you're underneath the mat. We're then going to delete the symptomatic and snap another set of stairs to the ones that we've already got here. And we're just going to build floors over to where we need to put in our ramp. Place down a full-size wall with an half wall on top of it. Snap a Slopey Boy 2000 onto the top of that. That's going to be our ramp. And delete the walls from underneath it. We're then going to do the same on this side. You may have to change the Slopey Boy into a flat piece to delete the walls, but it will work, don't worry. Once you've got them in place, just start deleting the floors and work your way backwards towards where your stairs are underneath the map. And look at that, you see, you got yourself a little ramp. It's not that visible here, but in different terrain, it'll really stand out. And here it is with garage door in place. It looks like a little loading bay, doesn't it? Nope, sticks out like a sore thumb, but that's absolutely fine. Now we need to get some walls above that garage door, and it's really not difficult. You're putting down some gantry stairs and building a floor. It's not rocket science. Once you've got that floor in over the garage door, you can put some walls on top of it. Simply lovely. Now let's move on to the roofs. Now this is probably the most annoying part of the build. When I say annoying, I mean fiddly. And if there was ever a point in this video that you was going to get an aneurysm, this is the time. We're going to start by placing down one of these roof pieces, and the idea is to get these little brick turret things all the way around this tower. Make a mental note of which way that brick piece is facing. Change it to a slopey boy and burn it with a flamethrower trap. Once that piece is destroyed, you're going to do the same again on the other side. Note how I've got the brick piece facing the opposite direction. Yep, that's what you're looking for. So just repeat the process. Change it to a slopey boy and delete it with a flamethrower trap. Once you've done that, you're going to do the same for the front of the tower and the back of the tower. Like I said, guys, this is a really fiddly, annoying fucking thing to do, but it does give a really nice effect at the end of it. Once you have finished getting all your roof pieces in, though, you should be left with some form of glowing outline, shitty, angled mess thing, but that's exactly what you want. Repair all your structures using your camp module, and then go back up there and change all of them slopey boys into flat pieces. And this is what you should be left with, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but that looks absolutely fucking incredible. Now we can start putting down the rest of our roofs, and we're going to be using the responder set again, and we're going to be using the ones with a little concrete lip on them. All of these should go down absolutely fine until you come to our little floaty board that we had at the front here. Change that into a slope piece, destroy it with a flamethrower trap, put your roof pieces underneath it, repair it, change it to a flat piece, and that's your roof complete. It will undulate a little bit, but just don't worry about that. There you are, guys. That's pretty much done on outside. It's looking half decent in my opinion. So let's do a little bit of decorating on inside. With it being a factory, we want it to look mechanical. Yeah, I think that's the right word. So we're going to start by pulling out one of these foundations and slamming down one of the water purifiers. Now the marvellous thing about these water boys is you can place a foundation over them. So if we do that, we get this effect. It looks like a machine sticking out at ground, doesn't it? Nope, it really doesn't, but it's something to put down. As well as the water boy, let's put down some workbenches. Yeah, I think this is one of the few instances where you can actually put down a workbench and it matches in with a build. I don't know, I just don't think workbenches usually match in very well with any farmer build, to be honest with you. They just look out of place, but anyway. As well as workbenches, we can throw down some generic shit everywhere. I'm going to use a stash box in the shape of a car. Very, very nice. And by using this stash box, if anybody asks me, well, TNG, what was your factory before the war? I mean, nobody's ever going to ask me that, but anyway. I can tell them that it was a factory that made parts for cars, which is a blatant lie because, in all honesty, I never have any idea what my builds are supposed to be until the last minute. Now, on our second floor, we're going to use this opportunity again to place down something that I'd never have out in any normal camp, and it's this big fuck off generator here. And you may notice I've also put down a sign on this wall over here. Just ignore the one that's actually part of the wall itself. That's just Fallout 76 being shit as per usual. On top of this sign, we're going to place down a power switch, and from that power switch we're going to run a wire to the generator. And now if you grab the sign underneath it, you'll see that the switch comes along with it. And you may be thinking, well, what good does that do for anybody? Well, this little trick allows you to place this switch anywhere with the power cable still attached to it, as long as you pick the switch up by the sign, move it once and drop it before you move it to its final position, that is. So what we can do here is we can grab the sign and the switch, and we can go down to our garage door at the back, slap down the switch on the wall, and what do you know? It still has a wire attached to it and it still has power. We can then run power from that switch up to our garage door, and voila, we have a functioning garage. Really, really useful little trick that. If you don't like wires on show, you need to know how to do this one. Thank you very much to Lobby76 for showing me that. Much appreciated, pal. And you know what? Sod it. While we're here, I'll show you a couple more tricks too. So let's start with an old school one, putting shit on shelves, because Bethesda has still not given us that ability, despite the fact that a shelf is a fucking shelf, and it is designed to hold items. But where's the fun in actually having an easy camp building system? Now, each shelf does vary in size, so you will need to use different items to make this effect on different types of shelves. But as you can see, with this stash box on top of a carpet, it'll slide under these shelves perfectly. And from here, you can literally start stacking items on top of each other. So for example, let's throw this toolbox on top of the stash box here. We can then grab our rug again, slide it underneath our shelves, and look at that. It looks like we've got multiple items stacked up on our shelves. And you can literally go crazy with this. You can have your shelves bloody bustling if you wanted to. And the beautiful thing about it, you can blueprint the lot of it and redo it time and time again. Next up, I'm going to show you the merge glitch. Now, this has been covered thousands of times, but I really do like this particular glitch, the Tinker's Workbench into this stash box. Now, for those new to the channel or new to Fallout 76, this will work with any single two items that you stack on top of each other. But for this one, we're going to be sinking this Tinker's Bench into the stash box. So once we've stacked the Tinker's Bench on top of it, we're then going to place both of these on top of a pressure plate. You can then grab a mannequin or yourself and stand on top of the pressure plate. The idea is to make the pressure plate depressed, and I don't mean that by hurling abuse at it. I've tried it, it doesn't work. Once you have got it depressed, so you can simply select and drop the stash box underneath, and what you'll notice is the Tinker's Workbench starts sinking into it. Beautiful. And once you finish pissing around, this is what you should be left with. So now I'm going to cut away to some footage of this decorated. I'll be back in a second. There you are, guys. What do you reckon of that? All that decorating that I've done was dead simple. It's literally just a case of placing stuff down. And while I've gone for a BOS Outpost kind of vibe to it, you could do anything you want with this. The world is your oyster, or so they say. Anyhow, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all my patrons. Really do appreciate the support. And if any of you guys want to get involved as well, there's a link down in the description. Whilst you're nosing around down there as well, you'll also find a link to my Discord. Feel free to come along. And of course, guys, if you did like the video, hit that like button. Let me know I'm doing an half-decent job. And if you want to see more weekly Fallout 76 content, consider hitting that subscribe button too. Anyway, as we say in the north, I'll love you and leave you, and I'll catch you in the next one.